Good evening, YouTube. This is Kaylin String coming at you with my regular Sunday night dinner. And tonight I have the last of my complete rations that I will be reviewing. I have ordered some more from a couple of different places. And I should be getting those in before next weekend. But this is a 2019 pack Menu 11. This is packed by Sopaco. They and AmeriQual put the date stamps on the bag. Warnick does not. I wish they would. So this is one of the vegetarian menus. Got spicy tuna rolls is here. Burger Butt and Burger Butt. At least Dave and Emphos is here. Thanks for dropping in. I got my pots on the stove. Coming up to a boil or are already at a boil. I usually try to get those started before I do my final table setup. Peelable seal worked just like it's supposed to. And again, this is another thing where I think Sopaco is gone completely the way of what AmeriQual has been doing, where they have been using an inner bag to keep the items closer together, give a little bit more protection to the components. Yeah, I had one instance where this inner packaging literally saved the MRE because that particular box that it was shipped in got poked big time, and it cut, whatever happened, cut the outer bag that through this thick plastic bag. And had this inner wrapper not been present, at least one of the items could have been damaged beyond being usable. So this is vegetarian taco pasta. So it's pasta with TVP made to look like a sausage crumble or resemble a ground beef or something like that. And this sleeve has the nutritional info and the ingredients for it. And then this kind of a thing on the other side that the military expect soldiers to at least keep in mind about the rations that they are issued. Chili lime hot sauce. In the same type of packaging that all of the MCW components used to be in before they got switched to this color. Got French vanilla cappuccino. So that would be going into the mug. Jalapeno cashews. Chunky peanut butter. This is a rare item to find in a US MRE, is the chunky peanut butter. This is probably more rare to find than the chocolate peanut spread. This is a Zapple sauce. This is the regular flavor. A looser form of the applesauce so that you could literally just drink it right out of the pouch, almost like it was a smoothie. Accessory packet with no coffee because we got the cappuccino. Flameless ration heater, which I don't use, but I save every one of these because one day I might actually have to use these. Apple cinnamon first strike bar. This is the full length, full size bar. Not my favorite flavor, but it'll do. Got basic crackers and the spoon. I use the MRE bag as my trash bag. Inside the accessory pack you get the usual rear roll, one of the sugar-free drink powders that is intended to go into a 500 ml bottle. This one is the lemonade. That will go into the drinking jar. What has been the standard packet of salt. Sometimes you get the little tiny white packets. Cinnamon gum. Always tell the cinnamon because one half of the wrapper is red. And the wet wipe. Because this is one of those drink mixes that does not take a whole lot of time to dissolve, I will not be mixing that one first. Let's see. Just taking a quick look through the chat just to make sure I haven't missed anybody coming in. Of course, if I were out in the field and I didn't have something to put my hot drink in, I would mix it in here. But because I'm at home, and just to make it easier for video purposes, I mix it in the mug. It didn't all make it in there. It's a very, very light powder. That is all the powder that is in there. Very little. So I'm going to go ahead and take this into the kitchen, put it in the water, and then I'll bring the kettle back for my cappuccino and open up everything else. I just took the kettle back into the kitchen just to get it out of the way. I'm going to make a slight adjustment in this. There we go. There's the Carlos Perry in the house. Thanks for dropping in. So there's a cappuccino mixed up. Mixing up the lemonade. I'm going to go ahead and open up the Zapple sauce. And I'm going to squeeze it right into this part since it's the biggest section of the tray outside of the part for the entree. Tear notch for this one seems to go this way. I was hoping that would get a hiss out of there, but you don't get too many out of there. I guess cashews are more expensive than peanuts. There is the first strike bar. This one seems to have closer to the appearance of the original first strike bars, and then it's really shiny. Whereas a lot of the other apple cinnamon bars, it would look closer to what the end looks like, not quite so glossy. Didn't get a hiss off the crackers, but I have a feeling these are going to be a little more difficult to open up. Or maybe not. But yeah. Sometimes these can't get so tightly vacuum packed that they're guaranteed to break when you open them. But at least they didn't get completely crushed like has happened occasionally. I'm just going back through the chat again. It looks like I'm caught up. I can definitely smell the spice mix off of the cashews. It smells exactly like the jalapeno seasoning that has been put on the peanuts. It was still pretty decent weather. 43 Fahrenheit right now. Yeah, that has already started to come in, and it's going to hit a good chunk of California. And once that really gets going, it's going to cause a lot of problems for not only California, but anywhere to the east that will end up in the path of that massive storm. So people who live out there better be prepared. Yeah, a lot of flooding, a lot of high elevation snow. And strong wind. And this is a second in what they called this atmospheric river that's going to be rolling in if it hasn't started already. I haven't opened the peanut butter yet, but I did give it another bit of a squish. But I'm going to go ahead and get the entree out of the water and bring it back in here. I am back. Just dried off the pouch. Because the tear notch goes across this way, I just do that to shake the food down so that when I open it, it's down below the opening when I rip it. There's black beans. Kind of a curly or wavy pasta. It definitely has a bit of a kick to it. There's a couple of the black beans. They're soft but not too soft. The TVP has a texture of the ground beef. But it has a good amount of spice to it. But for those that want it even spicier, definitely add this in, but I think it's fine as is, so I will be holding on to that. But it would be nice to have a little bit more texture to it. So that's where the cracker bits will come in. It would be nice if they would have included tortillas in this one. Yeah, this sauce is thick enough that it wouldn't be too runny to put inside of a tortilla. Take a sip of the French vanilla cappuccino. Definitely sweet. And another Californian YouTuber who lives in a desert area, Dive Bullfrog 79. Of course, he's been around a whole lot of years. No doubt he is watching the weather because although he doesn't live directly on a farm that relatives own, he still helps manage it. Plus, he is an elder of his church. So, no doubt they are keeping an eye on the weather in case they have to take in people who have been flooded out or who have been given a mandatory evacuation order. Oh, that's a bit crooked. I'll fix that. Sorry about that. Just making a slight reposition. Cracker is fine. Just that it would have been nice if they would have put tortillas in with this one. But because these crackers break so easily, there is Food Forest Permaculture from north of the border. Thanks for dropping in. This guy has all kinds of stuff on having a food forest and basically turning a whole large area of a piece of property into an edible landscape. Not only to feed people, but wildlife will make use of that area. Try a couple of pieces of these cashews. Seasoning on the cashews is is quite a bit. A lot of the bits are just pieces, maybe a complete cashew half. I've only had the sunchokes that are also known as Jerusalem artichokes maybe a couple of different times. Someone had given me some that had been harvested but not cleaned. I just had to clean them, and I peeled them and I cooked them just like you would potatoes. I do like them. I just don't think I can grow them here. I'm going to take a drink of this lemonade. Yes, mixing it slightly strong is how I like to do it. That way I get the full flavor of the drink instead of adding all the water. Cracker pieces are falling off. There we go. Big old glob of that on a cracker piece. There's Cliff in the house. Thanks for dropping in. He is up in Alaska. Yep. He is getting snow. The snow around here has pretty much melted away except for the largest mounds. And in those areas that don't get any light, direct light on them at all. But we're supposed to get rain maybe on Thursday. But a few days ago, I heard when I was listening to radio, a local station in the morning, that February could be warmer and wetter than usual for around here. So in the next 10 days, we could actually crack 60 one day. So 60 Fahrenheit, probably maybe 15, 16 Celsius, something like that. Depending on how the math works. So when I go out, I may be wearing a lighter weight jacket instead of a winter coat. In fact, today when I took the crap that I scooped out of the litter box to the dumpster, I didn't even put a coat on at all. And it didn't bother me to be out there for that little bit of time without anything on over my shirt. I enjoy lamb as well. Yeah, we are having some really weird weather. I ripped the whole top of the peanut butter pouch off. Might not be able to see the individual bits of peanut in there, at least in that. I could definitely feel him when I was kneading the packet. And I suppose it's not just during the summer. I bet people will eat it all year round. Years ago, when I still had a paid TV service before a certain company that will forever remain unnamed decided to start messing with me. There was a show on one of the channels, I think it was either like TLC, which is the Learning Channel, or one of those other channels like that, where they're profiling Alaska giant vegetables because the growing season may be shorter, but it's all day and all night when during those times that the sun doesn't set at all. At least in some places, you can get the edible part of a cabbage that's wider than my tray. Or you could get a broccoli that's about that big. I don't know how root vegetables do up there if they're grown in the ground instead of in a container or a raised bed. I don't know how well things like carrots or turnips or beets do. But I mean, you can take one, so like one cabbage or one head of cauliflower, one head of broccoli, and you could have enough to feed a football team. You know, that's got to be big. There's James Ortiz in the house. (2019) packed by Sapaco. Got French vanilla cappuccino in the mug. Jalapeno seasoned cashews. Or just talking about since eating a vegetarian meal, talking about the giant veggies up in Alaska. They grow them big up there. I mean, I can imagine one beet is probably bigger than the diameter of this thing. Wow, Howie, that's a lot of pumpkin. I am curious if these super giants are even edible or if they're only grown specifically for size. Yeah, rotator cuff pain is not fun. Never experienced it myself, but I've known people who have and have had to have the surgery on it. But one guy I know had to have both done at the same time because of the type of accident that he was involved in. Might be able to see some of the tiny chunks of peanut in there. This is the chunky peanut butter. Yeah, but I'll tell you, once this guy recovered from his surgery, he was able to get back to earning a little extra money by doing piano gigs, like playing in hotel lobbies and maybe the occasional store lobby when they used to do that, and entertain the kids attending the Special Olympics, the Iowa State Special Olympics every year. So he had been doing that for a time, and he might have even played piano in his church. But he was fortunate to live in a place where he could easily get assistance, not only from his wife, but because they lived in a building for disabled and seniors, home health agency staff go in and out of there all the time. In fact, I used to have clients in these buildings. Yeah, I would definitely talk to that doctor about maybe having an appointment with a specialist. That would be best way to go about that. And maybe that specialist, an orthopedic specialist or orthopedic surgeon, would probably be better able to figure out exactly what needs to be done. Maybe pick a good time to get it done. Thanks for dropping in, Howie. If you haven't checked out the Food Forest Permaculture channel, go check them out. Especially if you have a larger area where you can have a much wider variety of plants and trees. And definitely do it. But where I'm at, I can't make use of a lot of his knowledge, but I still like learning stuff like that because there might be something that I can do on my deck that I might not have known about before. I know I didn't get to it this weekend, but I'm thinking that this coming week, when it warms up a little bit more, I might be able to turn my compost completely over. There's my crasher in the house. Thanks for dropping in. And munch on some more of these jalapeno cashews. Those cashews definitely have a kick. Gonna have another sip of this lemonade. Although I try to avoid the artificial sweeteners because they can do some nasty crap to some people. I do like the fact that they mix up very easily. I will give them that. A glossy apple cinnamon first strike bar. Never seen one this glossy and this smooth texture on the outside. Usually they're a little bit, there's more of a texture, almost, I mean, you can feel the stuff inside it, whereas this one, it's just like the other flavors. There is Paul in the house. Thanks for dropping in. Haven't seen your name in here before. But what you're looking at is a 2019 pack, vegetarian US MRE, packed by Sapaco. One of the vegetarian menus that they produce. Oh, James, sounds like you had a pretty good meal where you were at. Yeah, this that has a good amount of spice to it. So I don't need to add this chili lime sauce. But the pasta is very soft, and that would be expected when you get something out of a shelf-stable pouch like this that's been around for a few years. It has black beans in it. They're actually just the right tenderness. And what looks like meat is the textured vegetable protein processed to make it look and feel like meat. But it definitely does not taste like it, so you gotta add a lot of extra stuff to cover up that flavor. Okay, this is called Zapple sauce, and it's a slightly more runny version of applesauce. And it usually comes, this is where I ripped off the end and squeezed it out, but it's almost as runny as certain kinds of baby food, and it's done this way so that way if you could not sit and eat it like normal applesauce, you could literally just suck this out of the pouch and get almost all of it. But you'll find this in First Strike rations, which is a type of 24-hour ration that is meant to be eaten with very little preparation at all. Maybe mix a drink, and that would be about it as far as preparation goes. But everything else, you would either just pick up and eat like this bar, or eat, the nuts or the crackers or a sandwich or a turnover or something like that. Or that applesauce, or sometimes you might get a prepared pudding in a pouch that you would simply squeeze it out into your mouth and just suck it right out of there. So that's one of the items that you would find in those First Strike rations. And this is chunky peanut butter, which is very uncommon to find in an MRE, but you do get it occasionally, and I just happen to get one in this one. Living my best life. Thanks for dropping in. Yeah, applesauce, it has an added ingredient known as maltodextrin. And it's a very processed, quick energy source that is put into a lot of food. Yeah, there are some newer menus in the First Strike lineup that I would like to get my paws on. And this is French vanilla cappuccino in the mug. And it came out of what I like to call the shaker pouches, the hourglass pouch design with a small opening that you tear open, you pour your water in, shake it. There is Tim in the house. Thanks for dropping in. He lives right here in Iowa. Just different parts of the city. So I've got chunky peanut butter on the cracker. This is a sugar-free lemonade in the drinking jar. Jalapeno flavored cashews here. So these First Strike bars are also in the First Strike ration sometimes. This one is apple cinnamon flavor. And it kind of has a texture that is closer to that of a cereal bar than the other First Strike bar flavors. There's cran raspberry. That's the best one. There's the chocolate and then the mocha. There's bread in the house. Thanks for dropping in. I'm not sure if it's just to keep the calorie range within a certain amount, or what. Yeah, I have seen some noise in some of the chats about cases, especially of the HDR or humanitarian daily ration, or some of the low sodium civilian Sapaco rations being for less than like $75 for an entire case. Or it could be some older ones. I saw a post that someone had put up in one of the chats about cases of MREs that were originally given to bases after Hurricane Katrina hit New Orleans, and Rita hit shortly after that in the southern states, but had not been distributed or used. So apparently someone, if this is legit, someone has gotten a hold of some of these cases and has decided to sell them. Again, this is from that time. So who knows what their storage conditions were like that these were held in. You know, was it a climate controlled environment? Was it not? But I'm sure someone will probably go for that just to check them out, see what they're like. Yeah, if I wouldn't have dropped a couple of ration orders already, I might have gone for one of those, but I ordered another box of stuff from the guy who has the channel Killing Zombies. And then I ordered a few items off of MRE Mountain, all US based stuff, except for one item, but it's something that I've had before, but I just wanted to get another pair of them in. No, people drop in and leave for whatever reason. But I'm glad to see you here. I do this every Sunday at 7 p.m. Central Time, except during Ramadan. I'm a Muslim, so during Ramadan I will not be at home at night. In fact, I will probably be spending a good chunk of the day in the mosque. I mean, I'm usually there around midday, and then I don't leave till after 11 o'clock. Or actually, this time of night it might be around 10:30. So it would still be too late for me to catch a bus to go home, especially on Saturday nights and Sundays. So I will usually get a ride home. But I may set myself up a secret stash in case I'm not able to get a ride home, since the buses don't run late enough. So during that time, so say between a March 12th and then like April 11th or 12th or something like that. So those Sundays in between those days, I will not be doing reviews. I may pop up other videos that I may shoot in the morning. And then, like for instance, if I get anything in the mail from other channels or something that I want to show on camera, I'll show that. So that is usually, during Ramadan is usually the time that my views go down, my watch time will go down. You know what? I bet it was. I've had the north side's Mexican rice. It is not at all like Spanish rice. It's not the same thing. Little different color. It's more yellowish. But not red like the Spanish rice. But that does sound like it was pretty good. Yeah, this is how runny this applesauce is. Normal applesauce would have a whole lot more of the pulp, maybe less of the juice. And the pulp that's in there is a lot finer in texture. Sometimes this applesauce will be cinnamon flavor. Then you may get the regular applesauce, but it won't be quite as loose as that. And it may have other flavors in it, like a berry or a peach. Earlier I had taken some of the smaller cracker bits and put it into the taco pasta just to give it a little bit more texture, since there's a lot of softness in there, the pasta being so soft. But for a vegetarian entree, this is definitely one of the better ones. Yep, those apple sauces are good for on the go. I bet if you chilled one and threw it in some kind of a cooler, and then you took it on a camping trip or at least a day hike, and you wanted something cool and refreshing, you bust that out when it's chilled. That might be good. I like my applesauce cold anyway, so when I go to bust open a can or a jar, even before I open it, I'll probably put it in the fridge. Just because I like that kind of stuff cold. Cashews are my favorite nut. So it's nice to get them when they got a little kick to them. By the way, the one item that I did not eat from that Russian ration, that pate, I couldn't figure out the meat source for it, and Nicholas could not figure out the meat source for it, but because he has been looking to collect pates, I just sent it back to him. I packaged it up very well just to protect it, since it is all by its lonesome outside of the original ration. So he should have gotten that at least by yesterday. And then he is sending me a bunch of some complete rations plus a bunch of other stuff that I picked off of a list. And the one item he had already sold. Said, oh, just pick some other things and we'll just call it good. So between the stuff that I got from him and what I got from MRE Mountain, plus all the loose stuff I have at home, I got stuff to keep me going up through Ramadan, and then maybe get one or two streams in after. So early April, I'll make my next ration order. I won't order any in March, because I should have enough by the time I get both packages to keep me going up to the time where Ramadan starts. And then in early April, I'll drop another order. Then I should have a few at least to get me through the rest of that month, depending on what I find. and if I can get a good price on it. I will say that I used my latest payment that I got from Google from all of my channel revenue to drop that order with Nicholas, who has a Killing Zombies channel. I had said that when I get that next payment, I will use that money for that purpose, and so I did. And then I dropped an order on MRE Mountain for some additional stuff that they had some deals on. So one of those was a set of 4 U.S. rations, but the random selection. And then a couple other items that I picked off of their site. So I'm looking forward to getting all of those things in to see what's there. That's one thing I don't like about these crackers is they fall apart so easily. Speaking of ration bread items, I watched Steve 1989's 2 new videos, and one of them, somehow he got a hold of a prototype US MRE with some very new components, including a new bread type item. And instead of a bag like this, it came in a wrapping closer to this. How he got a hold of one of these prototypes, I don't know. Yeah, it is very interesting. A few of the items that were in there had not changed, like the Bill's Brew coffee. But instead of a big old salt packet like this, you get one that's about that size. And that one looked more like what you might get from a catering company, or you might see in a civilian ration. But some of the others, like the main entree was different. the the drink mix was a cold drink mix, but it was a caffeinated. So you had the coffee, plus you had a caffeinated cold drink mix. So that was a bit odd. The peanut butter and jelly or jam were the same. But there are a couple of different items in there. And you still get the wet wipe, you get the rear roll, you get the same spoon, and you get the same ration heater, but he said that this particular one that he got was one of 3 that are currently being tested. I know. Yeah, you get that in the halal MREs. You get that in the civilian rations, like the Sopaco low sodium MREs. I don't know about the APAC ones that AmeriQual has done. I have never gotten any of those. I don't even know if they still do those anymore. But then the companies like La Beirut and when it used to be My Own Meals do the kosher, the certified kosher, and some of the certified halal ones. You get salt and pepper in those. In the halal MREs, you do not get a hot drink option of any kind. But in the certified kosher ones that these other companies do, you get the full thing. You get coffee, creamer, sugar. You get some newer stuff. I have gotten one of the newer ones, like the accessory packs. I got a couple of the accessory packs that had some newer stuff, like from La Beirut, than what My Own Meals had done, which were a definite improvement on those. But yeah, if other countries can put pepper in there, another thing that was unique was this was in powder form. It was a powdered hot sauce, more like a hot sauce, like you can get some like spice powders, but it was something like this or Tabasco, but in powder form. I'm not sure. I have no idea whether that was freeze dried or spray dried, like how the coffee would be done, but he said that powder definitely helped that entree out a bit as far as bringing up the flavor. He had also put up another video that same day, but this prototype MRE menu, I agree, it was very, very interesting to see that. I mean, I could see a caffeinated drink in First Strike ration, but in a standard issue MRE along with the coffee, who knows? Maybe sometimes that's needed. I'm dipping the First Strike bar in that Zapple sauce just for the heck of it. Oh, that does work. Although, if it was a cinnamon applesauce, I think that would work a little bit better. But if you haven't seen that new video on that prototype MRE from Steve 1989, definitely check it out. I wonder if he will try to get a hold of the other two menus that he mentioned that were being tested by those people who are usually involved in the ration development area, you know, whether they work for the company that packs it or if they are DoD employees or military members. But it is definitely going to be interesting to see what comes up within the next few years as far as U.S. rations. I went to get some of the newer meal cold weather menus. I've heard some noise that different companies were going to be producing the entrees to replace Mountain House. And I won't know that until I actually see one, either in video or in person. Of course, Mountain House is coming up with some new stuff for the civilian market. For the freeze-dried entrees. So hopefully I will be able to get at least one MCW this year. Knowing him, he's probably, oh yeah, right, napping with a dog. That sounds fishy. That sounds even more fishy. Maybe you need some of this? Yeah. Some bogus claim of sleep running, maybe? Yeah, they might be want to be ready to run when that atmospheric river rolls in. And instead of you taking the dog out to do its business, the dog may be dragging your dupa to the bathroom. I had to. I couldn't help myself. If I don't get any of my new stuff in by next weekend, then I'll do a ration mashup with some things I already have. I have a few entrees I can open up. I got a good stash of drink options I can pull from. I just don't have any of the dessert items because I think I've eaten them all. But I will come up with something. I'm just hoping that I get. It'd be awesome if I get both packages in before Sunday. Yeah. I've done a few cooking things. One was a challenge where I took ration components and made them into something completely different. But you could add a couple of small things, like I pulled a seasoning from my kitchen, and I think I added one more thing from my stash. I did a ration version of biryani. I happen to have some of the Minotaur instant rice. And then I had the chicken chunks. And I used some garam masala that I had. And I think I used some canned chickpeas. And I did that on my deck. And then another one was, well, so if you had to only use what you had in your pantry, brief disconnect, sorry about that. But you only had what you, like, it all had to be shelf stable items. So I did that same thing again, except I just used, like a canned chicken, again, the canned chickpeas, some instant rice, and my seasonings. And several years ago, there was a thing on YouTube it was called Mess Kit Monday. Some people still do what they call Cast Iron Wednesday, where you cook something in a cast iron pot or pan. But then the Mess Kit Monday was you use a mess kit, and I used my Polish military mess kit. But I did it on my stove. I'm just scrolling back through the chat. Yeah, my sisters used to like the Bartles and James. Especially my one sister who really never got into beer. She still doesn't like beer. She would rather drink a cocktail or a wine. But she will try a beer, but she never really got into it. Yeah, I see a lot of the twisted cans on the ground around here. And I hear advertisements on one of the radio stations I listen to. But it's just something that I don't care to mess with. I ran out of peanut butter, so the rest of this cracker is just going down naked. Yep, that's quite a long time. Yeah, it was a very rare thing for me to have a drink. Maybe once in a month. And it was only when I was going to use part of it to marinate a piece of meat that I was going to cook. But the last time I had any alcohol was probably like 6 or 7 months before I decided to change religion to Islam. Might have been longer than that. I had stopped eating pork maybe about 3 or 4 months prior. But I just never really got into it. To me, it was just one of those luxury things where I would rather spend my money on something that would be more beneficial. Because of the meds that my mom takes, she very rarely has any alcohol. She keeps some, but they are unopened. Just happens to be a couple of bottles of what my late dad used to like. That's the only reason why she keeps them, is they were given to them, but my dad never got a chance to enjoy them, so she has them. Yeah, for me it was like I have one or two beers or maybe a cocktail, and I just want to go home and go to bed. And that was just something that I just really didn't want to be bothered with. There is Shadow Scout Suite in the house. Thanks for dropping in. 2019 pack. Vegetarian. It is Monday morning there in his little piece of Sweden. So he may be going after his coffee if he doesn't have some already. And dipping the apple cinnamon first strike bar into this applesauce. And this one's actually not too bad. Had jalapeno seasoned cashews. Cashew halves in pieces. So they definitely had the spice. The pasta, the sauce actually tasted closer to a taco style seasoning rather than a chili. So it basically close to this flavor, but without the liquid. So I did not use this chili lime sauce. So this will get added to my hot sauce collection. Got vanilla cappuccino in the mug. And this is a sugar-free lemonade drink mix. Very little powder, but intended to mix with a 500 ml water bottle, but I do it in my 13-ounce drinking jar. Still got water in this bottle. This is a 500 ml capacity bottle. It's an insulated double wall bottle. Oh, Cliff, if you would have got that on video, that probably would have gone viral. That probably would get you 10,000 plus views. One of these days, I hope to get my cat doing yawning meow on camera, but most of the time when I see her do it, I'm not ready to shoot video or I'm in the bathroom and she comes in there and does it. Oh, I bet. I bet, especially if it was a flavor that is nowhere near close to something that he has experienced in the past. When I used to have Mila, she always curled up to sleep in a nearly perfect circle. So I could never pull anything off on her like that. And Pumpkin does the same thing when she sleeps. Wherever she is at, regardless of the weather, she curls up in a perfect circle. Yep, last Saturday's stream that Shadow did, it went on for quite some time, but it was very enjoyable. And sometimes the topics that he has will be very similar to what Gil will bring up on either his Camp Patton Family Compound channel or his Gray Man Prepping channel. So it's pretty neat when you get same topic, but different people have different ideas about it. Yep. And that is a good one to know about, especially in areas that can be prone to power outages. You know, with that big storm coming in to California, anybody living there better be prepared for loss of power because of that. Yep. So I might come up with something that can be brought up in a future Saturday stream. But if it comes up during Ramadan, then I'm not going to be able to be there to chat about that one because I'll be busy at the mosque getting the evening's meal ready. Yeah, it's good to check on channels you're subscribed to because it has happened where someone could be subscribed for years and even commenting on videos and such, and they get unsubscribed without their doing anything to it. Like 3 different times I got subscribed. Yeah, I was subscribed to Survival Lily, but then I got kicked off and I had to resubscribe to her channel again. I don't comment on every video of hers that I watch, but I do comment on a fair number of them, and, you know. But I have always enjoyed her channel, but I got unsubscribed from her channel 3 times. And yet I can remain subscribed to a channel that has not put out any videos for quite some time. Like, there's a guy called I.A. Woodsman. I have not seen him put out any videos for several years, but I am still subscribed to him. Of course, I haven't checked his channel in the last probably about a year's been since I last checked on his channel, but yeah, it's kind of weird when that happens. You know, in December, one of the streams had 19 likes. But then YouTube took one of those likes away. I don't know what that was about. But it's just one of those things that we gotta deal with when using this platform. Yeah, I did not get a notification about Gil's stream last night, his Survival Saturday. So I just went to his channel because I knew it was about time for it to start. So I had to search it out. And then when Old Smoky went live last night, I didn't get a notification, but I did see it in my feed, so I went ahead and hopped on it. It's just one of those weird things. Get that focus back. All we can hope is that it is just some system burp that has to be fixed. Now, what was that you saw? Was it, you see someone's lightsaber floating around? Maybe disguised to look like some ordinary flashlight. You see one of those laying around? Oh, speaking of, I have been seeing some ads for a Star Trek game for a laptop web browser, or at least for playing on a laptop instead of a mobile device or a game console. Or if you had a desktop computer, you could play it on a desktop computer, but I haven't searched it out. I was watching the first part of Garden State Gardener's Sunday Fun Day stream, and one of his guests had momentarily dropped off, and it just showed her icon of her standing on a red circle, and then she came back, so just her face popped back up. So I asked her if she got nabbed by some passing transporter. didn't get a response from that, but I thought that was funny. Just because of the picture that was left behind after she had gotten momentarily disconnected from either from YouTube or from a StreamYard that Joe was running. And it showed her standing on a red circle. Oh, okay. Actually, that would be a good topic because I have been thinking about this. In Star Trek, especially with Next Generation and after that, you see people holding slim versions of this. Maybe it's no thicker than this wet wipe. But, but we got this now, just not as thin. Yeah, maybe Shadow will just go over to his replicator and get a cup. But, that would be an interesting topic, science fiction that is now fact. Yeah, me too. I haven't seen the most recent ones because I don't have Paramount. So that's the only place I could watch those if I wanted to. I don't know where else I can find them because when I had Hulu, I couldn't find it there. And the only reason why I had gotten Hulu was because I wanted to watch the eating history with Old Smokey, but for some reason I was not able to get that. I guess I didn't pay enough of a monthly fee to get it, so I never really got interested in anything else on it, so I just dropped it. I was paying for it but wasn't using it, so I just dropped it. At one time, I did have a collection of Star Trek items, but when I was getting ready to move here, I wanted to get money to help cover some of those expenses, so I sold my entire collection to one guy I met in a bus. I told him I was taking different things, different places to try to sell up, and I told him I had some, Star Trek items, so he wanted to see what I had, so we both got out, went into a parking lot. I showed him what he had. He bought everything I had. So I had the Star Trek Monopoly game with the extra characters. I had a Tribble that actually made noise. I had the older style communicator that actually made some noise when you hit a couple of the buttons in it. I had some books, I had the magazines, I had a few other items, so I sold him the entire thing for, I think at that time it was like $100 or 125 or something like that. But he had been looking for stuff like that to build his collection, so do I miss having those items? Yeah, but I know that he is enjoying them. Oh, Tim, you know that one guy that Smokey always talks about, Gabriella? He is always drinking old beers. Maybe he got a hold of one of those. Yeah, back in the day, I had relatives who drank Schlitz. Not a lot of them did, but there were a few who liked it. Or maybe they got it because it was either inexpensive or it will go on sale, and that's when they'll get it. Yeah, I've heard some noise about some kind of a precursor to that being developed. I mean, heck, you can get certain kinds of vaccines through what looks like the kind of a system that was used in Star Trek, where a needle is not used. It just goes into the skin, and they're doing it through a shirt sleeve, where you wouldn't even have to touch directly to the skin. You just shoot it through the shirt sleeve into the person's arm. It would be like a subcutaneous type of thing, but shot in instead of just a patch. Yeah, Spice, you better be ready to swim. Your tail fin better be in shape because you may be having to go full speed. Yeah, that's what they're saying about this atmospheric river storm. And this one being the second one following up on one that happened last week. And this one could be the worst of those. Yeah, I don't know exactly what part of California or the whole state could be at risk of getting hit by that monstrosity. Yeah, and then a lot of snow up in the upper elevations of the mountains. Yeah, that is going to be one heck of a mess. And wherever that goes after it leaves California, people in those areas will definitely want to be ready. Yep. Yep. There was a couple of episodes of the original series where there's only two guys left on a planet that everyone else had been killed off, but these two guys, two men, but the only difference between them was, you know, one half of one guy's face was dark, the other was light, and then the other guy's face was opposite. That was the only difference, but apparently they still wanted to kill each other. So they just ended up in some place just to let that play out. And then there was another one where one group of people lived up in a sky city, they call it, where they never went to the ground. And the people that lived on the ground were seen as inferior. So those are the only two that I could really think of offhand. Well, Pumpkin is looking up at me. Okay, let's. Pumpkin! Pumpkin! Oh, she just went under my chair. Pumpkin! Come out here, Pumpkin. Move my cord. Yeah, Pumpkin, they want to see you. Do you want to see the torty girl, Pumpkin? That's what she likes to do. She'll go under my chair all the time. There we go. Sometimes she will make an appearance. Sometimes she'll just sleep through the whole thing. So Yep. Yep, that's the one I was referring to, Carlos. That the other one about the one group who lived in a sky city, one of them somehow ended up down on the ground. And she had to be convinced that they had just as much of a right to exist as the people in the Sky City, and that they could benefit each other. I don't remember how that one exactly ended. Yeah. Yep. Yeah, the food thing. Yeah, might. Who knows when that could actually become a reality where, I mean, there's already meat cells being used to produce more meat cells to form it into some sort of a meat-like substance. But to just walk up to a hole in a wall and tell something to appear and it shows up. Yeah, that's one thing I think it would have been nice to see in any of these sci-fi things is rations. I think it would have been cool to see something like that. Of course, in that show Lost in Space, this family and this other guy who was with them, most of the time they got a single tablet as a ration, and and that was pretty much their food until they found some planet where they could get some real food like fruits or some local vegetable or something like that. Uh, but most of the time it was just a single tablet that they would drink with their water, or they would eat with their water. Yeah, that's what this system does, that it takes these cells that have been processed so that they run through something that is similar to a filament that you would feed into a 3D printer, and then the head and puts these cells together to make it look like a piece of meat. But yeah, I never saw the Hunger Games, so I don't know a whole lot about that. But I don't doubt that something like that would have showed up then. But maybe I'll have to watch that and find out exactly what that was. I think in some other sci-fi movies I've seen, they someone would eat what looks like a protein bar that we might know about. And that would be the closest to a ration that I could think of. Well, that would be interesting to see. But as I said earlier, you know, science fiction to reality might be a good topic for a stream discussion. Well, DeCarlos, that makes two of us. I wonder if Sean, who has the Ration Museum, would know about that, and would he be able to get something that would approximate what they had on set for that particular scene? But from what I heard from Smokey last night, he had to empty out the space that he was renting, and he himself moved into a different house. So he may have the entire collection at his house. But I guess he's been super busy with other stuff, I guess. But I hope Sean comes back to doing a YouTube channel and giving updates. Yeah, those might be something worth checking out. Yeah, that would be just like the Harry Potter movies. You get a better sense of them if you watch all of them, or if you read the books, you read all of the books. Same with Lord of the Rings. I suppose you could call that food for thought. Yeah, if they are on one of those services where you have to pay a fee to watch it, then that is something I just would not do. I don't have a TV, so I don't have any of the TV services. I would have to get the digital streaming version. I did download Tubi, which is a service that I don't have to pay for. I could search that. I don't know if it would be on YouTube itself. I know there have been some movies in the past that have made their way to YouTube. Yeah, that would be another way to do it, is to get the DVD version. I could go to a library and see if they have it there, and then check them out. I can't play DVDs in my laptop. That would be another option. Depending on which cable or satellite TV service you have, there is an on-demand channel where you can just look up a specific show or movie that you want to watch and don't have to wait for a specific showing time. You can just pick through it like you're going through a movie library and just pick that particular title and watch it. Yeah, if you have Netflix, yeah, I'd say Netflix, or if you have the Amazon Prime, you can look, there's Prime Video. That's another option. Some people have what's called a Roku box. I think you pay for that once. And I think you can receive channels through it for free. I'm not sure how that works. Yeah, if you watch that, you'd probably want to watch it when the little one is not around. If you heard that meow, Pumpkin can get pretty loud. She can be a talker sometimes. It might be interesting to see where rations appear in other movies or TV shows. Other than MASH, we all know about that. If you get that set and you get it when it's on sale, you put it in a wish list, and then you might get a notification when that particular item goes on sale, because sometimes I get those notifications when an item on one of my lists goes on sale. Yeah, definitely check that out. That way, if you do buy it, you own it, and then you can watch those whenever you want. It's one thing I don't have a whole lot of in my collection is DVDs. I have a few. I have multiples of some because that's just how they were given to me. But I wouldn't mind adding a few more titles to my collection. I just haven't bought any DVDs in a long time. But that could be something that will be a good form of entertainment during a power outage. If you have a power station, backup power supply, you can plug a computer or DVD player or game console that you can play DVDs on. For if the power goes out. Finishing off my cappuccino. Yeah, that's actually is that is that per movie or for the? I'm assuming that $3.99 would be per movie. Yeah, Shadow uses a comma where we would use a period to separate dollars from cents. Uh, that might confuse a few people on this side of the pond. Just thought I'd explain that. Well, I have gone 3 hours. where we have gone 3 hours. Those have been around me the whole time. Obviously, I can't tell you what I'm going to do next week because I don't know that yet. I will have to see what packages come in. But when they do come in, I will do a mail call on them. Yeah, that would be the better way to go, is to buy them. That way you have them and you can watch them at any time you want. Well, if that newest one is included with all the previous ones, then that definitely would be a good price to get the whole series. Well, I bought, I think, I think I bought one or two complete rations, and then I bought some loose components from him. Like he had some loose Spanish items. He had like a British main that I was interested in, a Spanish entree that I was interested in. I've had that one before, but I like it, so I saw it on his list, so I asked for it. And just a few other loose items, like anything Spanish or Polish he had, I wanted it. And so he had three of the Russian cheeses. So I asked for them. And then there's let's see, for Strike Bar. Among other things, and he may throw something, a couple other items in there just to fill out the box. But he had a beef jerky in his list, so I think the last box I got from him, he just tossed in a few extra items just to fill out the box. And I bet he's doing the same again. But we will see when it comes here. You know, the last boxes, it had gotten, I know one of the boxes that I had gotten from another community member last year was severely dinged up and it barely held together, but I did not lose a single item. I was actually quite surprised that I didn't lose anything. But I did get an order update from MRE Mountain that my items were being packaged. So I should get a shipping notification fairly soon. I haven't checked my email that I use for all of that stuff probably since this morning. Well, that's okay. I'm sure it probably was just a slip or maybe a mistranslation. I do have a Polish main, but I haven't translated it yet, so I don't know what it is. But who knows, that may be making an appearance in the near future. Yeah, I had a package that was handed by UPS, and I'm surprised nothing in that one was damaged or missing. I have had packages where they're mishandled The first time I tried to order the solid tray liners for my dehydrator, the mail carrier literally folded it over and broke them. Even though they were marked, do not bend. No, no, it is based here in the U.S., but they import the vast majority of the foreign stuff. They have their contacts in different countries where they source the items. And then it's up to that sender to go ahead and send them directly to the buyer. And of course, run the risk of customs raiding it. Yeah, it's just, I just don't want to take the risk of buying anything that could possibly be nipped. MRE Mountain still has those German emergency rations that I got 2 of. I opened up one and I prepared one of the tea packets, but I did not taste the ration bars. I just opened them up, at least taking them out of the outer wrapper. But then I resealed them. And then I sent the other one to Sean for the Ration Museum because he did not have one of that particular type yet. I had also sent him some Japanese military script currency. Of course, I acquired different ones to replace those that I sent him. Not the exact same ones, but I got a few of those back in my collection. But that Coca-Cola caffeinated chocolate, those should be no trouble getting here. But they sell American as well as foreign stuff. It's just that buying the foreign rations can tend to be a bit more risky. Now the all MREs, the one that does the Z rations or zombie rations, they use almost exclusively American produced components in theirs. Yeah, that's a, when I bought a US MRE from a Lithuanian seller, I did that because I wanted to see what would happen if I ordered an American ration from a foreign seller. I was curious if that one would get opened up by customs, but it did not get bothered. It was left alone. I was actually quite surprised that it was left alone because it was one that contained beef or chicken. I don't remember which one that was. But that one was done purely as an experiment to see what would happen. Obviously, I won't do that again. Not because I think it'll get nipped, but, you know, that was just a one-time thing. I wanted to try that just to see what would happen. A few times I've gotten lucky with the one guy I bought a Polish ration from, but he sent me the wrong one. But he would not do anything about that. It was nothing at all what was described in the listing. But it had an entree that I had not had before. Plus, he sent along a French main that contained pork. Neither of those got messed with by customs. For some reason, they got left alone. So I passed that particular French item on to someone else. Yeah, I don't think this Lucas guy was one I dealt with. But it sounds like if I would have known about him, I probably would have had a lot better luck. Yeah, because I had ordered the same French RCIR twice from MRE Mountain, and both times it got filched, and they wouldn't do squat. And I showed them the pictures of what the box looked like, the items that were there, you know, nothing, you know, the ones that were missing. But apparently they don't do anything if your package gets raided. So that's why I will not buy any more foreign stuff from them. Except for the Coca-Cola. I guess we will just have to see what happens with my boxes when I do get here. Yeah, Yep, that is really bad. And they are not very, they're not even very neat about when they open up a package. They just slice it open any old way, they don't care. And they will damage something that should have been left alone, like a drink mix or a snack. Or when they raided a bunch of Norwegian rations that Art Nina got that they're going to sell on their foreign MRE site. Out of one of the cranberry protein bars was taken. Out of another, a drink mix was taken. Now, that was the strangest thing to have those two items taken out of rations, and they should have been left alone. Yeah, I know what some of the guys do over there, how they wrap everything. Basically, what it is even though it is a properly prepared food product, even freeze dried items they have taken, it's sealed in a sealed container, so it has already been properly treated for any biological contamination. But because it contains a meat source from any animal other than fish, any fish item, they don't care. But this whacked out claim about something being brought in that could harm our food supply, when in a lot of countries, their standards are higher than ours. At when Nathan of Nathan's MRE, he recorded meetings with a USDA agent or inspector type person who came to his house. So apparently, somehow he got reported to them. And so that's when he actually had someone come to his house and he recorded those conversations. But I agree with DeCarlos on that. I think they just want to take it to get a free meal on us. Yeah, they say those items are supposedly destroyed. I really think They'd take them for themselves. Ooh. Yeah, and the dog got a shower instead. Yep, thanks for dropping in. Yep, I'm probably going to hang this one up pretty soon anyway, since I've gone almost 3.5 hours. But I hope you stay safe over there, Spicy. And if you got a haul tail, you and the pup haul tail. I don't think you have to worry about freezing. Just staying dry. But I do want to thank you all for hanging out with me for this one. I am looking forward to the boxes that should be coming in, I hope, by this weekend, or at least one of them. And then we will see what comes from there. But there will be a stream this coming Sunday. What it is, that will be up to whoever delivers packages. Again, I do want to thank you all for hanging out with me, especially those who have come in for the first time. Hope to see you next week. Thanks for watching, and catch you on the flip side.